Today on The Social, airlines are resuming flights out of Puerto Vallarta to bring Canadians home as the recent cartel violence in Mexico subsides. But has global unrest changed the way you travel? And the sexist locker room joke heard around the world. We react to Donald Trump's disrespectful invitation to the U.S. women's hockey team after their gold medal win. Then,
hockey will teach you what you need to survive in this world.
Academy Award-nominated director Hubert Davis and actor Ashton James tell us why they wanted to modernize the 80s cult classic, Youngblood. Plus, to sleep, perchance to dream. Author Karen Van Kampen says what goes on beneath our eyelids at night plays a big role in our well-being. It all starts now on The Social.
Thank you. Have a seat. Have a seat. I didn't know we were in the midst of a queen today. Thank you so much. Welcome to The Social, everybody. We'd like to welcome back to the panel writer Bee Quammie. Hey. Welcome back.
So good to be back.
Great to have you here. So let's kick off the show with this. Welcome news right now for a lot of people as Canadian Airlines have resumed flights to and from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So Mexican officials say the violence that erupted after the killing of a cartel kingpin has now settled. And while many say that they are really happy to be coming home, as we speak, other people actually boarding flights to head down into Mexico to go on vacation. And it got us thinking, there's a lot of global unrest there, other parts of the world. Has this changed the way that you travel? A lot. For you too, Bee?
Yeah. No, it's totally changed the way that I travel. There are places that I don't feel safe traveling to. And, you know, if you have the privilege to travel, it's still very expensive. And there's always going to be risk with that. But when you see the risk right in your face, on your phone, on the news day to day. But the thing that is really interesting to me with the conversations around unrest and natural disasters and things that happen in the places that we travel to is the amount of privilege that comes out when we don't realize that these are places that people live. They're not just escapes for us to vacation to. So some of the conversations I've been seeing, particularly around Mexico, are people saying, oh, you know, I have a trip planned in April. Is the unrest gonna be done by then so I can still come? And I've seen it through Hurricane Melissa, saw it through COVID, saw it through so many different times that we really need to understand that these places are places that people live. These people who work in these resorts are not avatars that are just, you know, they have lives. So we need to consider that.
And you know what? I'm so glad you said that because I was just in Puerto Vallarta in December. Love Puerto Vallarta. I will be back. I'm just gonna let the dust settle. But I'm with you. I was really upset to hear these Canadians who were there who are like, you know what? Air Canada and WestJet and Flair, they need to send a flight right now and pick me up. And it's like, listen, there's been an advisory that everybody needs to stay in place. And the locals who need to get you to that airport, they're staying in place. And it's not worth the $50 Uber ride to get you to the airport so you can go home. Because in order for you to go home, every single local person, the person who handles your bags, the person at the ticket desk, they all have to put their lives at risk so you can go home. Just sit down in the hotel until they tell you otherwise, and then you can go home. Like, have that kind of decency. So it was frustrating to hear that. Very frustrating.
Have you changed when you travel?
I mean, I won't go to the U.S. until there's a different administration in charge. But that's for sure.
Doing it. Nope.
I will say, though, that in the past, like I remember that in the early 2000s, I went to Egypt, and there were a lot of people saying at that time, because there had been a big terrorist attack in the late 90s, and they were like, why are you going? I was traveling with a group of women. People were very alarmist. And I didn't feel like, I thought it was overblown. And indeed, I think we all have to remember a little piece of it, not with what happened in Mexico, but I think sometimes, like if you look at Toronto news, I think about the time following the van attack on Yonge Street or the Danforth mass shooting. There's been many instances where if you were looking at our news, I remember people calling from out of town being like, are you okay? We live in it, and we know that actually it's an isolated incident. So I think you have to use your own judgment and maybe, you know, like, balance it out with your life stage, you know, who you're bringing with you, and a little bit of common sense.
Common sense for sure, yeah. It is a privilege to travel.
Yes,
Let's just say that. The majority of people, especially in the States, don't even have a passport. So if you're lucky and you're part of that percentage, I think it is a privilege. We have to treat it as such, as you mentioned, Bee. I think for me, I think because I come from news, I always have a very good dose of paranoia that runs through me. You always think of catastrophic, you know, events happening. So I've always had paranoia where I travel. And I have a list of things that I always do when I travel. Number one, you go to travel.gc.ca and I register with the Canadian government and the embassy and let them know where I'm going to be every single trip.
That's so good.
It's so easy to do. Wow. So if something unexpected happens, so for example, last year I was supposed to be going to Sicily and there were wildfires all over Sicily. So if all of a sudden something unexpected happens, you want your government to know you're there so that they can go, we have these people registered here, so they can send help, etc. So that's the number one thing that I do. And I hate to say it, for a lot of people, I think less in Canada, but there are a lot of people who still say things like, I don't follow the politics. Politics is not for me. There's too much division and all of that stuff. That is a very privileged thing to say because P.S., politics touches every single part of your lives, including your travel. And so to stay on top of news is not just because that's what you do. It's also to keep on top of what's happening. Also, we go to places where the healthcare system, it looks to be more intact. When we had Marquesa, the first place we said was, where are we going to go if something happens with our child? I think a lot of new parents get into the paranoia. What happens if we travel and I have a new child? Or elderly parents. Where's a hospital system that I can rely on? Where is there not a lot of police corruption? Right. Where do I know that there's justice if something goes sideways? You know, so we have a list of countries, unfortunately, that we also don't feel safe traveling in, especially with our daughter. But this is, again, political, because if you are a government, the more democratic and just and equal your society is, the more tourists like us want to come there. So this is actually a call to all these countries. If you're a dictatorship, we're probably not coming to visit anytime soon. And if you've got trouble, so take care of your people so that we can spend our money with you. You know? Simple. Okay, after the break, it was the locker room joke heard around the world. We're going to be reacting to Donald Trump's disrespectful invitation to the U.S. women's hockey team after their gold medal win. Stay with us.
Tomorrow on The Social, a deadly game of hide and seek. A look at Hair of the Bear, the new Canadian thriller starring Malia Baker. This week on The Social, stand-up comedian, actor, and writer Robbie Hoffman joins the panel to debate the stories of the day.
We're back. Feels good. If you would like to interact with us, you want to have your voice heard, get us on social media, and that is how you can be a part of this conversation.
So the U.S. women's hockey team has turned down Donald Trump's offer to attend tonight's State of the Union address, saying they can't make the schedule work. Although you do have to wonder because they declined the invite after the president joked he was forced to invite the women while on a locker room phone call with the men's hockey team. So listen to this.
We're giving the State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. I could send a military plane or something. But if you would like to, it's the coolest night. It's the biggest. We're in. Yes. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
So how did you feel about this joke?
I think we feel all the same. We're pissed off about it. It's horrible. Unfortunately for the U.S. women's hockey team, you got 10 minutes of patriotism and joy, and then ruined with this one stupid phone call. For me, what I'm struggling with is, with everything that President Donald Trump has done, from the low approval ratings, the Epstein files where he's mentioned 38,000 times, the turning allies into enemies, I still don't understand how people can compartmentalize what he's done politically and still get excited for a phone call from him when he has nothing to do with the sport that you just won. I can't really wrap my brain around it. And just when I'm struggling with that, one of the players, Jack Hughes, he doubles down and reminds us of the mentality that all of those players have with this. This is what he had to say when people kind of question him about why the women aren't going to the White House. They've got busy schedules too. Everyone is giving us backlash for all this social media stuff today. It's so negative. People are so negative out there, and they're just trying to find a reason to put people down and make something out of nothing. And I would tell Jack, you know who's doing that the most? You're President Donald Trump. So you could have done yourself a favor and said nothing, but then you doubled down and you made it even worse. So congratulations.
Yeah.
So stupid.
It really is, and I'm just really proud of the women for declining. I'm really proud of the women for taking their agency.
But they really didn't really have a choice.
They didn't have a choice, but, you know, I've seen other people be put and other teams be put in similar situations, and they still suck it up and go and eat Big Macs in the White House, and that's supposed to be some like illustrious event. But what I love from this moment, what's come out of it is you're seeing other people who are really championing women's sports, like Flava Flav, half of, iconic group Public Enemy. There he is. He's invited the women's hockey team to like a real celebration. He wants to take them to Vegas, do up a whole thing, give them the, the recognition and the celebration that they deserve. So the opportunity for other people to come in and fill that gap, plus to show the fact that visiting the White House for a president like that is not the, the be-all, end-all of what it can be. So
right. It's not what it used to be.
It's not, definitely not what it used to be.
It's really, really sad because in Trump 1 and now Trump 2, do you know that he has never invited a women's championship team?
Not surprised.
Ever. And he does that for, of course, all the NBA champs, the MLB champs, now we have the Olympic champs. So, the misogyny is written all over this. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that this is, to me, and I've been railing about this for days since the Epstein files and beyond, is I don't know why I don't hear and see more men standing up and yelling and screaming about
100%.
this. Well, it's one thing, like, for me, we know that as women, we feel that hurt. We feel that insult like he almost said it to us or to one of our girlfriends. We feel it so deeply because that's how patriarchy works. But, this is not my quote, but Jamila Jamil said this recently on social media, and she said, here's the problem. We are not raising our boys to be men. We're just raising our boys to not be like women. Because we don't know what being a man is. And if this locker room talk is how we indoctrinate the next generation of young men to be older men, and you have the most powerful man, you're not doing that. But this is very we feel the bro culture, fraternity vibes in that locker room. Oh yeah, I guess we have to invite the women or else I'm gonna get impeached. It's like this is the most powerful man in the world. And so he's basically giving them the green light that this is how men behave towards women. And he's the president of the United States.
I have a question about that too. All right, so all these players individually, when you go back to your home and your daughter, your mother, your sister, your mom who dropped you off at all of those early morning hockey practices, what are you saying to her?
I hate to say it, but one of the moms has actually spoken out because Jack Hughes, who you mentioned, his mother, her name is Ellen Weinberg Hughes. She's actually part of the player development for the USA women's hockey team.
So how does she feel about this?
And she is defending the men. And so this is what I'm saying is that misogyny is not just a man versus woman problem. Women can be guilty of patriarchy as well. But I'm not even talking about the women here. I'm just waiting on social media for the fathers, the brothers, the coaches to actually stand up. Women, it's not on us to fix patriarchy. Men, it's on you to fix the bad men. Sorry.
And the last thing I want to add to that is that it needs to go beyond just the relationship that men have to women. Like, I understand when we look at it like if this was your sister, your mother, your daughter, but we are all just human beings. It shouldn't just have to be related to, I'm gonna treat you well because you are a woman that is connected to me. So we need to there's still so much more work to do.
What do you think, Cyn?
I mean, I have so many thoughts. I feel like I've been in rooms where there are men in powerful positions saying awful things, and been in the situation where I felt like I had to laugh at the jokes. So although this hockey team, I'm not going to defend them because they also did a bunch of things in the locker room that were caught on, hanging out with Kash Patel. They were playing a lot of very rah Americana songs. I think it tells me a lot about who they are as a culture. But I do understand the idea of feeling like you cannot, in a weaker position, laugh at or challenge
leave that
power.
locker room and say I don't want to do it.
Exactly.
So I think that I just wanted to point that out. And there apparently were two guys in that moment. You can't hear them. There were two hockey players who did say something to the effect of like trying to defend the women. And I want to hear more from the women, even though it isn't on them, because that hockey player you gave the example of. He's claiming that they just have a busy schedule. So I want to hear them say the reason why. And then I do think there's an opportunity here for the men's team, even if there's only a few players, to say, hey, we're not going to actually show up at the White House
they're
either.
going, honey.
No, they won't, because it's this groupthink. And that's the most dangerous part of it, is that you are going to need to see more and more people challenge the idea of groupthink. And that starts at the bitty like times of like early hockey players, early like groupthink with men. It's brave and it's hard, and we need to see more of it. We need to encourage
we are tired as women of being the one being brave.
We are, but I mean, I feel like people have been saying this for ages, and there is a lot of great stuff going on online where women are talking to their boys about this exact thing. And I saw this beautiful piece where this mom was sitting down watching this clip and asking her son, who's like 12 years old, what do you think of, why are those men laughing when they mention the women's team?
That's a great
and he's like,
teaching
I don't know, this isn't funny. And then so asking questions, so you can encourage them to look into these things that we've just made as sort of like, oh, it's all right. It's not okay.
Will you bring it up with Jaya?
I don't know if I will. We're not in those circles. There's a reason why I'm kind of have a hard time with sports, guys. This is the energy that I grew up in. And I know that there are lots of people who are not like this in sports. We need to hear from you now.
Yes.
Now.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Yep.
All right, enjoy those Big Macs, boys. Bee, we always love having you here. Thanks for coming.
Always love being here.
Let's take a quick break, everybody. We've got content creator MissDarcei, who is back, joining us with beauty brands that she says are truly, truly inclusive. We'll be back with that. We're back, everybody. So listen, the beauty aisle hasn't always reflected the real world, but today more brands are recognizing that inclusivity isn't just a trend, it is the new standard.
Yes, and our next guest has built a global following by putting products to the test across cultures and complexions, and she's here to share which brands are truly moving the needle when it comes to beauty in diversity. Please welcome back beauty creator and expert, MissDarcei.
Hello. Thank you. Glad to be back. Listen, a lot I feel like has changed over the last sort of 5 to 8 years or so, but according to you, what truly makes a brand inclusive?
Yeah, it's not just about having a lot of shades. It's about really thinking about, does the product actually work for people? Right? And also, I've noticed that it's about having diverse voices in the room while the products are being created.
Yes.
Amen to that one. All right, so let's start with K-Beauty. Not really well known for being complexion inclusive, but you're going to talk to us about a brand that has changed that.
Yes.
So which brand is that?
Absolutely. That's the brand Tier over here. They were the first Korean brand to have 40 shades of foundation.
40?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is incredible because typically Korean brands have like 3 shades. So having 40 is just outstanding.
Okay.
Tier was able to pull this off because they really listened to what their customers wanted.
Oh. Sorry, I found my shade. I got really excited for a second. Because I'm so accustomed to not being able to find my shade that I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all, it actually matches. That is fantastic.
Yes.
All right, so this is a cushion foundation.
Yes.
Now, does a cushion foundation provide the same amount of coverage as, say, like a liquid foundation?
Absolutely. I feel like Koreans really love this because they like to do their makeup on the go. So kind of think of this as your liquid foundation, but in a compact. So it's got the mirror, it's got an applicator, so it's just perfect for on the go.
Sorry,
It looks good.
Right, you can't even see it, y'all.
It has almost like a blurring.
Good.
Is that like designed like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful.
This one's very high coverage, very blurring.
All right, K-Beauty, I see you. Okay, I like this. This is good. This is great.
Okay, so up next, We have a brand called Danessa Myricks Beauty. And for those who don't know, who is Danessa? How is she making waves in the beauty industry?
Yeah, Danessa is actually a makeup artist. And so she formulated and created her own beauty brand. And I love Danessa because her products are always made with deeper skin tones in the forefront of her mind, right? So this is her blurring powder. And as you guys know, like powders are not known for being very inclusive.
What should we apply this with?
They give you a little instrument.
yeah,
By the
okay,
way, I
little
use this
instrument.
product. If you have oily skin, this is the best thing for you. I'm the oiliest person you've ever met, and this product has completely changed my whole makexp game. So,
Absolutely.
sorry, continue.
It's gonna completely blur your skin. So yeah, just take a bit. You don't need a lot. And this product is extremely innovative. It's a bomb powder. Like, when have you ever heard of that?
It's
right?
not quite my shade, but I do like the
Do you feel
the
texture? It feels really good. It blends in really well.
Very
And that
soft
oiliness
texture.
that some people, if you have oily skin, it's gonna go away because she has this universal balm in it that is so good. And I know that a powder can get cakey real fast. So what are your tips for achieving that light but effective coverage, full coverage?
Hydration.
Okay,
That's why skin prep is so important, because the more hydrated your skin is, the less cakey your makeup is gonna look.
Okay, good tip.
Love this. Okay, moving right along, we have somebody that I think a lot of people may be more familiar with now, and that is Selena Gomez's beauty brand called Rare Beauty. What is the standout product for you in her line?
I would say it's definitely her blushes. So Rare Beauty, they did something very innovative. They created a blush that actually shows up on your skin.
Look at that. Can you imagine?
I know. And I know that sounds basic, but traditionally, a lot of blushes would be chalky or not even show up at all on deeper skin tones. So they created an entire line of blushes for everybody. This is actually my favorite blush right now, especially the purple one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what are your tips for applying a product that's super pigmented? Because too much is going over. You don't want to look like a clown.
No, you don't want blush blindness.
Okay.
So I would say use less than you think that you need, and then you can just build it up after.
All right, but girl, when I'm in the bathroom overdoing it and the music's real loud, I'm getting ready. I don't know. Sometimes I get carried away. So like 1 dot?
Yeah, you could do one.
This is very pigmented.
I like a lot of blush, so I will do 2 or 3 sometimes, but it's really up to you. And I would say, because it's a liquid blush, you want to pat, not swipe.
Okay, pat.
Yeah.
I was just swiping.
Look,
I was just swiping away. Okay.
We like it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, pat. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that, y'all.
Oh my
That
gosh.
is
Okay, this is the
good.
battle of the pop stars.
Yes. Looks good.
Yeah,
That looks
let's see.
good.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay, I'm still over here with Selena, but I want to talk about Rihanna, because we know that Fenty Beauty is her beauty line, founded by Rihanna herself. And she revolutionized, I mean, if you love Selena's blush, it seems like Rihanna revolutionized lip gloss.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like people don't think about lip gloss when they think about inclusivity, but universal is a term that I've heard a lot when it comes to lip glosses. And traditionally, universal kind of meant it works on light skin tones and then maybe kind of shows up on a darker skin tone. But Fenty completely flipped this. They said they're gonna make an entire line of lip glosses that looks good on everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love using her lip gloss, a good coverage. It lasts, and it's not too sticky, and you also do get that pigment.
And it smells so good.
And it does smell really good.
It's very nostalgic.
Yes.
Okay, and more battle of the pop stars, because we go from Selena to Rihanna, and then lastly to Lady Gaga, and she's got House Labs. So when it comes to complexion products, what's the beauty industry usually get wrong that House Labs you think gets right?
I would say House Labs is really good at feeling like everybody is included. Contour is notorious for not being good.
Don't mind me, I'm just coming over here to try something.
Yeah.
Keep talking,
Contour is notorious for not being good on darker skin tones.
Okay.
I would say, like, especially when I was growing up, I could not find a contour for myself.
Yeah.
House Labs decided they're gonna make the darkest contour on the market.
These I think are more for you.
Okay,
though.
thank you.
And as you can see, it's very creamy. It's not chalky. It's not ashy. It comes in great colors.
I'm not great with contour, but I see what's happening. I think so.
I didn't grab my color.
so.
Okay, don't mind me.
It should be really easy to blend.
Yeah, it is really, really easy to blend.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we're
Yes.
talking.
Our makeup
There we
artists are
go.
freaking out backstage right now. Freaking out. What are they doing?
Destroying their face that they created hours ago. But yeah, no, this is so good.
These are fabulous brands. MissDarcei, thanks for coming back. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
This is a lot of fun. Okay, we're gonna play. After the break, we're gonna be taking a look at the exciting new remake of the film Youngblood. We'll be back right after this. Let's see. Welcome back, everybody. So if you were around in the 80s, you might remember the cult classic hockey movie Youngblood. Well, today, there's a fan. Today it is being reimagined with a modern-day take looking at race and masculinity.
The hockey will teach you what you need to survive in this world. But you gotta work 3 times harder than the next man.
How's that taste, boy? You call me?
Please welcome 2 of the men behind the Canadian film, Academy Award-nominated director Hubert Davis and Dean Youngblood himself, Ashton James. Welcome to the show. Good to have both of you here.
Thanks for being here. So Youngblood was kind of like a cult classic for many people, hockey fans and non-hockey fans alike, back in the 80s. But this version really modernizes the story for a contemporary audience. In what way does it do that?
Well, I think if you remember the original in the 80s, there's some things that we probably couldn't do. It's got, it's a little different, but I think the heart of it was this idea of a story between, a son and his father, and then also this idea of a young man trying to find himself and find his own way that he knows he has to be. So I think those stories are really universal. So we're just happy to explore them again.
Okay. Well, listen, if we remember the 80s film, that cast was iconic. Maybe we didn't realize at the time, but we're talking about Patrick Swayze in the film, alongside Rob Lowe, of course, played Dean Youngblood. Now, in the original version, he was considered too soft. However, in this version, it's been flipped. So Youngblood is too tough. He's too tough of a player, too aggressive of a player, and he actually needs to learn to control his temper on the other side. So what parts of the original character, if any, and I'll direct this to you, Ashton, did you carry over maybe into the new version?
Honestly, I didn't carry anything over. Because it's such a different story, it is the same character, but we kind of fleshed it out a bit deeper. And so Hubert and I had a lot of conversations about when Dean started playing hockey and his journey throughout that process. So if there is anything I took, I saw someone the other day saying in the original, Rob Lowe's character shot both left-handed and right-handed. So I took that he just shot left-handed, and we locked into that so that he wasn't shooting 2 ways for some reason. But, because we approached it from such a different angle, it felt like such a new story, so we just approached it in a new way.
Well, recently we had former NHL player PK Subban on the show, and he's been very open about the racism and adversity that he's faced playing hockey over the years. And I'm wondering if you got a chance to talk to any Black hockey players and kind of take their experiences to help you prepare for this role.
Yeah, so I trained at a gym called Intech High Performance, and I had a lot of people helping me prepare for the role. And my lead, the head trainer there, and he owns the gym, his name is Daryl Levy, and he has his own experiences in his pursuits of hockey. And honestly, he was like so invaluable. He was coaching at the time, so I would go to like the team's practices and like just see the culture, feel it, because it's so different to me. When I got there, I would hear some of the guys in the locker room speaking, and I'm like, are they talking English? Like, it was such a shock to me, But Daryl was, honestly, I can't give him enough praise, because without him, I don't know what I would have done.
Wow, wow. I want to go back to 2022 because Hubert, you directed the documentary Black Ice. And in that doc, you exposed the history of racism in hockey. So what did you learn from that doc that you may have applied to this film?
I think the main thing I took away from Black Ice was the Black experience has actually always been in hockey. That was one of the things I discovered making it is there was the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes, and really showing that, I think we think of the Black experience as a new thing in hockey. We think of like people like PK, that's like our generation. But there's always been great players. And I think a lot of those players were waiting for the chance to tell their story. And I think Youngblood does the same thing. They just want to see themselves. I think it's that idea of representation, and I think that's what this film does.
Ashton, in the film, your father is played by the immensely talented Blair Underwood, who's an actor who has Grammy.
That was an involuntary word.
He's got a Tony, he's got a Gold Globe, we can go on and on. But what was it like? What did you learn working with such an accomplished actor?
Yeah, it's interesting because when we started filming that first week, we were doing a lot of Dean's like fight sequences. So I was like beating everybody up on set, and I was like walking around with my chest out, and I felt so good about it. And when Blair came, like he's pretty overbearing in the film as Dean's father. In his first scene, he comes up to me, puts his hand on my shoulder, and he goes, "Is that how I taught you how to fight?" And I'm looking into his eyes, and I have never been so afraid in my life. He is. When we speak about his talent, I think he needs more recognition for his ability. Yeah, so underrated, and he's an amazing person. You know, since we finished filming, he'll like call me, he'll check in. You know, we have conversations, and so he was generous by doing the film, and he's been generous after. So he's, you know, I said earlier today, if someone paid me $1 million, maybe I could say something bad about him, but I'd be lying because he's honestly a great person.
Oh, we love to hear that. Yeah, we do. Listen, hockey, we were talking backstage, hockey is having a moment right now. And not only are we talking about Youngblood, but of course, heated rivalry, which some of us may know about. And, you know, there's a lot of interesting shared DNA, perhaps, a little bit here. Not only are these hockey stories, both of these productions were shot in Hamilton, Ontario, which we love. Both feature this love story off the ice as well. You know, Ashton, what do you think it is that connects sort of rivalry and romance and hockey right now that is just so effective?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'll be real. I couldn't quite speak to what's connecting, but have you thought about that?
I think it's just something different. I think in the story of Heated Rivalry, this idea of like we haven't seen that before. We haven't seen that type of romance. And I think honestly in hockey, we haven't seen enough Black hockey players like in that lead role. You know, I think it's anytime you do something new, I think people are like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Even though that story has been around.
Absolutely. All right. So I feel like most of us have a sports movie that we watch as a kid that we absolutely love and it sticks with us. So I'm curious, is there one that you watched in your childhood that you remember that sticks out for you?
This isn't my childhood, but Any Given Sunday was a football movie.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I watched it again before we were making the movie.
Do you know the behind-the-scenes stuff?
Some of the drama that went on, I do.
Between
with
Jamie
Foxx
and LL Cool J? Okay.
Yes. He talks about LL licking his lips too much, and he was like, hey, you know, settle down. So
there was some drama there.
There's some drama. We didn't have any of that drama on our set.
Not that you know of, but it's okay.
Well, Hubert and Ashton, this was such a pleasure to have you both here.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, listen up very closely. Youngblood will be released in theaters on Friday, March the 6th. So make sure you support it and go and see it. Let's take a quick break. And then after that, author Karen Van Kempen tells us what she discovered about why we dream when writing her new book, The Brain Never Sleeps. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Have you ever wondered why we dream? Well, our next guest has spent the last 2 decades exploring this mysterious realm.
And her new book, The Brain Never Sleeps, covers everything from how dreams are built to how we can use our dreams in our everyday lives. Please welcome to the show author Karen Van Kempen.
Thank you.
Nice to have you.
It's great to be here.
Welcome. Well, you've been working in this field for a long time. You've been doing the research, talking to the researchers, and it seems like it's the perpetual question. Why do humans dream? I know it's in the title of your book, but are we any closer to an answer? Why?
So there's different ideas. One idea is that dreams help us consolidate memories. They help strengthen our memories, strengthen learning. And a really interesting idea is that they take recent experiences that we dream about and then connect them with things that happened far in our past. And then they connect them, and that's how they strengthen the memory.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, so can you walk us through the different phases of sleep, the sleep cycle, and what each cycle means? Like, how many sleep cycles are there, first of all?
So there's 4 stages in the sleep cycle.
Okay.
And we go through a sleep cycle 4 to 5 times a night. Stage 1 is light, airy sleep. It only lasts a few minutes.
Okay.
And then we go into stage 2, and that's when our heart rate, our breathing starts to slow down, our brain waves start to slow down. That's about 10 to 25 minutes. And then we go into stage 3, and that's known as deep sleep. So that's like the really deep restorative sleep.
Okay.
And then stage 4 is REM sleep, and that's rapid eye movement when your body's paralyzed but your eyes dart back and forth while you're dreaming, and you have really vivid, intense dreams.
So that's where the dreams happen, not in the other stages. Or
They happen across the sleep cycle.
Oh.
So we dream in non-REM and REM sleep, but the really vivid emotional dreams tend to be in REM.
Okay, and is it true that we only remember our dreams when we wake up during them?
So one
Sorry,
idea is that,
Okay.
because people wonder, oh, maybe, do I dream, do I not dream? It might be that you're just not waking up in a dream, so you don't remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how can we use our dreams to improve our waking lives?
So one way is that dreams help us identify preoccupations and concerns, things that are weighing on our minds. I kind of look at it as dreams are this highlight reel. Sometimes they're like a highlight reel of what's bothering us, and so they can help us understand what's weighing on our minds. We can learn to guide our dreams to, say, solve problems or come up with creative insights, and we can learn to lucid dream. So that's when you're in a dream and you gain awareness that you're in a dream. If you gain that awareness, then you can try and control your dream self, control your dream world, and have fun and try and maybe practice a skill or do different things.
Oh my God, it's like the OG alternate reality, right?
Yes, exactly.
It sounds like you already answered this question. So you say we can actually influence our dreams. Like, I've woken up once from a dream that was so good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get back to sleep, and I wanna jump right back into the dream. Can we do that?
Some people can. I have never been able to, but that's a skill for sure. Like, to be able to go right back into that. Yeah, but you can learn to, like, for nightmares, you can learn to try and re-script bad dreams. And you can do that during the day. Like, you can think of, say, if it's an ending that's bothering you, you can try and rewrite the ending. And it's almost like giving yourself another way out the next time you have a bad dream.
Well, speaking of nightmares, in the book you mentioned that recurrent dreams happen, and 85% of them are negative. So why do some of us have such negative recurrent dreams?
One idea is that maybe it's something that's unresolved. We haven't had a resolution. So for me, I had this falling dream since I was a child, and I just kept dreaming that I was falling and falling. And before I hit the ground, I would just wake myself up. And this dream researcher said, that's the ultimate avoidance strategy. I'm never getting any resolution. So one idea is that you're not getting, so the dream lives on because it's not resolved.
So what should you do? You should land, you should fly? What should you do in that dream?
Exactly. So I found out, because I said, should I just avoid falling? And he said, no, because that won't give resolution. So I said, what if I imagined a big fluffy mattress and I land on the mattress? And he said, okay, try and do that. And I did. I practiced that idea during the day.
And it worked?
And it worked.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's exciting.
Okay.
We don't have a ton of time left, but at the back of your book, you actually have this dreamer's guide toolkit.
Right.
Can you walk us through like 1 or 2 of your favorite tips?
So, and a simple tip is to keep a dream diary. And it's really interesting because you'll notice different ideas or people that might keep popping up and then might be saying, that they need your attention, something to look at. Another thing is to set an intention, like if you've got a problem that you're trying to solve or you're trying to come up with a different idea, try and think of that as you're falling asleep and keep that thought in your mind as you're falling asleep. And then maybe the last one would be Salvador Dali used to do this, and he used to call it slumber with a key. And it's this whole idea, he used to do it for creative inspiration. So you sit in a chair and you have your hands here, and then you hold something in your hand, and there's a plate underneath your hand, and you close your eyes and you start to fall asleep. And as you're falling asleep, whatever's in your hand drops, and then you wake up and you'll have your dream thoughts in your mind and you can write them down.
Oh, I love that idea.
What a cool idea for a book. It is called The Brain Never Sleeps. Karen, thank you so much for writing this.
Thank you for having
sharing
me.
with us.
Thank you.
So cool. The Brain Never Sleeps is available everywhere today. Now, audience, you are in luck. You're going to sleep so good tonight. You're going home with your copy today. That's really cool. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Extra! The Social now streaming on Crave. Thanks a lot.
This is awesome. You guys are out here.
Streaming on Crave. Sorry. Oh, that's amazing. The Social now also streaming on Crave.
All right, tomorrow on The Social, actress Malia Baker will be here telling us about her exciting new movies, Hair of the Bear, and also the latest in Disney's hit franchise, Descendants, Wicked Wonderland. My daughter loves Descendants, by the way. Also, we're going to be hearing about how music therapy makes a major difference in people's lives. We've seen so many news stories where someone may have dementia, for example, and then music is something that is always, it brings them right back to the present.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I actually saw a video of this guy where his father had dementia, and his father used to be a singer, and he played the song, and his dad remembered every word of the lyrics. And I was like, that's pretty powerful.
Music is very special, so we'll learn about that tomorrow on The Social. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. See you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye-bye.